Hi, my name is Jeghan. I'm a member of Polgar group. We have 8 members in our group, and today this is our outline of our presentations. We're going to talk about Sicilian defense, open Sicilian, Sicilian dragon, Scarawagon variation, Sicilian defense game 1, Sicilian defense game 2. And next I'm going to pass to Teh for him to talk about Sicilian defense.
Hello, my name is Teh Yu Sheng, and I'll be presenting the gameplay of Sicilian defense. The Sicilian defense starts with white playing e4 to control the center. Now, instead of replying e5, which lead to the London system, black replies c5 to control the center, which marks the start of Sicilian defense. Now, here comes the first variation that we want to discuss today, which is open Sicilian. Open Sicilian can be seen as a very aggressive opening for both white and black side. Open Sicilian continue with the move knight to f3, pawn to d6, and now white plays c4, pawn takes pawn, and finally knight takes d4. For white, he is giving up his center pawn in exchange with tempo and pieces development. Since now white has developed his knight, while black has developed none of his minor pieces. White also have the natural advantage to pressure black more in order to give more tempo, which will be discussed by my teammates. As for black, although he lose 1 or 2 tempo, having 2 center pawn while white only having 1, will build up his attack tremendously in the future. Theoretically, if black successfully develop his pieces, white will have a hard time to win the game, since now white doesn't have center pawn to control the center.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Sufi As-Sobariah binti Kadir with the student ID 17003541. So for my part, I will conclude on the Sicilian opening. I will be talking about the advantages and the disadvantages of this opening. So firstly, the advantages of this opening is it has a great understanding for beginners. This is because it is the most popular and statistically more successful to respond to pawn e4. Secondly, it keeps the game open and flexible to bait for mistakes. This is because this opening has a harmonious setup of pieces since it coordinates well and have a very fixed coordination. Thirdly, it is a strong opening that it gives very complicated and rich position. It helps to get a decent position against many responses for the player. So next, for the disadvantages, firstly, it is a big time investment since more time is spent on learning the variation of choice. The players who play this opening is often fanatical and they spend many of their hours to learn about their opponent's line and their steps. Secondly, mistakes are easily done if theory is wrong. It is important to learn on this openings theory because without any knowledge, this theory can't be done. This opening can be done. So this Sicilian defense is one of the best openings. In the statistic, which are close to 50%, the Sicilian is often chosen by players trying to win as black at all costs. So on average, black will more often be the stronger player in this Sicilian defense. However, the draw percentage in this Sicilian opening is very low. So with that, I bid thank you.
Hi, I'm Haziq. So I will be explaining about the Sicilian Defend Dragon variation. The Sicilian Defend Dragon variation is one of the sharpest chess opening that you can play. It also known to be one of the most extensively analyzed opening system in chess and also considered as the counter-attacking option for black against the move 1e4. The Sicilian Dragon begin with the move pawn to e4 and black will reply pawn to c5. Knight to f3, pawn to d6, pawn to d4, pawn take pawn on d4, knight take pawn on d4, and knight will move to f6, and the white knight will move to c3. And here are the signature move for Sicilian dragon, where the black will move their pawn on g7. Black intention is to deploy black square bishop on g7, where it attacks some square in the center and also put pressure on the queen side. In the Sicilian dragon, black quite often find that he has the aggressive and harmonious development as the bishop pressure on g7 and also have the ability to move pawn on the queen side and even find opportunity for the rook to move on the semi-open file on c8. The Sicilian dragon is named for the similarity of its structure to the constellation Draco. To put it simply, the Sicilian dragon is a safe way to play. It can be very aggressive and sharp, but it is a nice way to play. Not only you defend your king with minor piece, but you also have a ton of active play if the center opens up. That's all from me. Now I will pass to Fatehah.
Thank you, Haziq, for passing the presentation to me. My name is Siti Nur Fatehah of Sapuan, and we'll dive into Scandinavian variation under Sicilian defense. This variation sits fast for black due to its higher winning percentage for its aggressiveness, but white can also win the game by using the same stance. So how? From the previous main lines, players will develop their points and pieces. So white's climax is when it moves its pawn to g4. Its pawn to g4 over here. Previously, black moved its pawn to e6, thus blocked its bishop to move to the king side. So they need to come up with another strategy for king side attack. So if we doesn't want to use that attack, which is we call it carrot attack, it's alright. We can also use classical variation. This is a slower momentum by moving bishop to e2, our first board upper to our left, by moving bishop to e2. From here, we'll wait how black will continue the game. Next, we can also use English attack, on which we move bishop to c4. In English attack, we use our pieces to the queen side, and then we can also use tile variation by giving the same position as our opponent by moving pawn f4. The pros of using tile variation is we can continue using Dragon Sicilian. As a conclusion, Sicilian is while we control the center of the board by moving our pieces of pawn, knight, and bishop mainly. That's all from me. Thank you. I'll pass the presentation to the next presenter, Sufi.
Okay, hi. So my name is Ahmad Ahmad Zamri. So today I will explain about the Sicilian defense game 1 by the Paul Murphy versus Adolf Anderson in 27 December 1858. So they applied the Sicilian defense at the early game of this game. So the first move is from the white pawn to e4, and then the black pawn moves forward to c5, and then the white pawn moved forward and the black pawn took over the white pawn, and then the white knight moved forward to attack and give pressure to the black pawn, and the black knight moved forward to defense the black pawn, and then the white knight attack the black pawn, and the black pawn move one step forward to give more space to the queen to attack the knight, and then the knight move forward to b5 to give more pressure to the queen, and then the black pawn move one step forward to give one step forward to give more space to the queen. And I could say that it is well correctly played because it is compelling the advance of the e-pawn. It leaves the queen weak and unsupported. So I think that's all. I will pass to Sabrina to explain about the Sicilian defense game 2.
Hello, I am Sabrina from Petroleum Engineering, and today I'll be talking about the second Sicilian defense game between Lajos Sajna versus Aaron Nimzowitsch. Now, as we know, the Sicilian is a large collection of systems beginning with e4 and c5, continued by knight to f3, opening the Sicilian game. Now black plays e5, creating a hole on d5, as we can see, currently obstructing his opponents. White then plays knight to d5 with emphasis on strength on d5, which can be achieved by sacrificing material and positions. Now white also plays knight to f5, where white wins back his pawns but remains with doubled pawns, whereby the sacrifice turns out to be positional. Now the game continues on like any other game. However, the main takeaway from this game is one gets the impression that the line of play c5 is in connection with e5, weakening d5. And this can be justified, for white could have maintained himself at d5 with difficulty and should have probably attained a draw instead of losing to black. Now I will pass this on to Wen Xuan to continue on the third game. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wen Xuan. So now I'll be demonstrating the gameplay by two GMs in 1922 Sicilian defense opening. So we can see that the first move is e4, c5, and f3 and nc6. So this is the typical opening of the Sicilian defense. So we can see that both sides are trying to control the center, bring all of their pieces into the center and develop it. So castle, castle. So for safety purpose, so under attack, so white attack the queen as well, so queen have to move and check, move inside there. So now we can see that white is winning one pawn, so if no blunders happen on white side, so I think white can win this game. So let us see. So because the g pawn cannot take the black bishop, because it will open up the g file, so that the white king is dangerous. So this is the end of the game. So we can see that the Sicilian defense is basically we can understand the basic idea of how we play chess, to bring out all of the pieces and also to control the center and castling. So this is all of the basic strategy that has shown in this Sicilian defense opening. So we can learn some basic idea and strategy from this opening. So that's all. Thank you.